12.8 million new jobs. You slowed the growth of healthcare costs by 50%. You reduced the deficit and share of the economy by 2/3. Things are great. They are. Except for really hard-working people fighting to get into and stay in the middle class. And so, folks, progress was made, so much more has to be made. And the President and I are committed. We said it, we ran the first time, and we said it the second time. The mission of our time is to restore the middle class. And that's not hyperbole, because look, the middle class, by the way, you know, when you talk to economists, they'll tell you it's 51,800 or 52,000. It's not a number. It's a value set. To be middle class means you're able to own your own home if you choose to and not rent. It means you'll be able to send your kid to a park where you can know they come home safely and not be molested or beat up. It means you can send them to a high school that if they do well, they qualify to go to college. If they get into college, you can figure out a way to get there. And you can take care of mom when dad dies or dad when mom dies and hope your children never have to take care of you. That's what middle class is. But it's getting harder and harder and harder for that to happen. And the reason why it's so important is not just economically. Middle class is what's held the fabric of social stability in America together. Because as long as people thought, if I keep in it, I'll get rewarded for it, we had none of the social unrest that has occurred in the rest of the Western world or around the world over the last 50 years. We had racial unrest, but not social unrest as a consequence of disparity in income. And so it's important that we, in fact, all of us, change that. Raising the federal minimum wage to $12 an hour, which we're pushing now, not even near 15. Just raising the federal minimum wage to $12 an hour would raise the standard of living for over 35 million people who are now living in poverty. Just that one act. 35 million people in America. And folks, no one working full-time should live in poverty. And when someone's earning the current federal minimum wage, they're making $14,500 a year. As the press knows it, try it. Try it. Try it. Try living on $14,500 a year. If you raise the minimum wage to $12 an hour, that will raise salaries to $24,000 a year. Enough to bring a family out of poverty. And it has another thing. It's a virtuous cycle it creates. People who are at the next level, they get bumped too. That's what worries a lot of employers. The next level people who are making the equivalent of $12 an hour will find themselves making $13, $14, $15 an hour over time. This virtuous cycle begins to move. The other part of that cycle is, just if we did just that, we'd pump another $19 billion here into the economy. Because people who are making $24,000, they don't have the ability to save. What do you save after you add up your rent, after you add up all your costs, your car, everything, your insurance? So they spend it. They spend it. And that fuels economic growth. That creates new jobs. You go to the hairdresser once every 8 months now and didn't do it before at all, you end up with enough people, you put on another hairdresser. You go out to dinner once in a while, whether it's a local fast food place or not. It means more people get employed. You're able to buy more tires when you're, instead of riding on ball tires for another 20,000 miles. These are practical things, but people don't think about it. Understandably. Practical things that generate economic growth. Half the minimum wage workers, by the way, are women. Women also make up more than 70% of all those jobs that are tipped jobs. All of this gets raised up. Everybody gets put in a different position. There are women who are the primary bread earners, and so many working multiple jobs while still trying to get their kids to school and back, and also single parents as well, single farmers. They deserve a raise. But here's the point, I'll end this. Raising the wage is good for business. It generates loyalty. There's overwhelming studies across the board to show that. It increases productivity. It leads to less turnover, and turnover is costly. Going out, finding a new employee, it's a costly thing. Training that new employee, it's costly. So it's really good for business. And more business. I was out here at P&G not long ago. What they're decided to do, with a little bit of help from us, they're out there now. They've made a judgment to hire within, setting up setting up programs within apprenticeship programs within the work. So they can be working as a lineman, and after work, doing over a 4-year period, learning a new skill to get another job that's going to pay you another $20,000 a year. They're hiring in terms of management from within. That's the future of the business model in the United States.